What if I told you that Elon Musk, the man who builds rockets and electric cars, wasn't always the richest guy in the room? Because once, there was a mafia boss whose empire secretly amassed over $47 billion, nearly double Musk's wealth at the time, and he did it not with innovation, but with fear, blood, and a network that reached into governments themselves. You've probably heard of names like Al Capone or El Chapo. They were rich, powerful, and terrifying. But compared to this man, they were amateurs. He wasn't just a gangster, he was a kingmaker. Entire cities paid him tribute. Entire industries bent to his will. And he built his fortune so quietly that most of the world still doesn't know his name. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on the most dangerous billionaire you've never heard of. From private zoos filled with exotic animals to palaces dripping in gold. His lifestyle made even Wall Street tycoons look broke. But the real shock, the way he turned crime into business so flawlessly that even governments couldn't stop him. And here's the craziest part: at minute 13, we'll reveal the one secret about his rise that even law enforcement didn't see coming. This is the story of how one man became richer than Elon Musk and twice as dangerous. 1. Fat Tony Salerno. Before we get to the man who out-earned Elon Musk, we have to start in New York City, where a cigar-smoking mob boss named Anthony Fat Tony Salerno ruled the streets. Born in East Harlem, Fat Tony climbed the ranks of the Genovese crime family, one of New York's most feared organizations. By the 1970s and 80s, he controlled illegal gambling operations across Manhattan and the Bronx betting rings that pulled in millions every single month. His loan-sharking empire was just as profitable, charging desperate borrowers interest rates so high that missing a payment could get you killed. And Fat Tony spent his money like royalty. His Miami Beach mansion looked like something out of a movie. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, priceless art, and a private dock for his 90-foot yacht. Always ready for quick trips to the Bahamas. Back in New York, Salerno owned a fortified compound where politicians and mobsters partied side by side. Chefs prepared the finest Italian dishes. Champagne flowed endlessly, and famous singers performed no questions asked about where the money came from. His garage, a bulletproof Lincoln Continental, a rare Ferrari, and multiple Cadillacs, each with hidden compartments for cash and weapons. Fat Tony dressed the part, 2 hand-tailored Italian suits, gold watches, diamond rings, and Cuban cigars imported illegally at absurd prices. But even with his estimated $600 million fortune, Fat Tony was small time compared to what was coming next. 2. Michele Zaza, across the Atlantic, in the bustling streets of Naples, Italy. Another mobster was building an empire that made Fat Tony look like a street hustler. His name, Michele Zaza, the Camorra crime boss who turned cigarette smuggling into a gold mine during the 1970s and 80s. Zaza's network stretched across the Mediterranean, moving millions of contraband cigarettes from North Africa into Europe. And as his power grew, so did his ambitions. He expanded into heroin and cocaine trafficking, multiplying his fortune to an astonishing $700 million. But Zaza didn't just get rich, he lived like a monarch. His assets included 3 massive yachts, each over 100 feet long. The largest, named La Dolce Vita, cost more than $15 million and boasted gold-plated fixtures throughout its cabins. On land, he owned luxury villas on the Amalfi Coast, a penthouse in Milan, and even a chateau in the French Riviera worth $30 million. And his spending habits legendary. Zaza once blew $500,000 in a single weekend at Monte Carlo casinos. His wardrobe contained hundreds of custom-made suits, each costing upwards of $5,000. He famously never wore the same outfit twice to important meetings. To protect his empire, Zaza spent millions annually on bribes and a private army of bodyguards, many of whom were ex-Special Forces soldiers. 3. Griselda Blanco. If Michele Zaza was Europe's cigarette king, Griselda Blanco was Miami's cocaine godmother, and she didn't just get rich. She built an empire that made her one of the most feared women in criminal history. Born in Colombia, Blanco moved to the U.S. and, by the late 1970s, controlled Miami's cocaine trade with an iron fist. Her cartel smuggled over 300 kilograms of cocaine every month, earning her an estimated $2 billion fortune. Unlike other crime bosses who stayed in the shadows, Blanco flaunted her wealth. She owned multiple luxury mansions in Miami, each more extravagant than the last marble floors. Crystal chandeliers, gold-plated bathrooms. One of her swimming pools was even shaped like the map of Colombia. Her jewelry collection worth millions, emerald rings the size of marbles, platinum bracelets engraved with her nickname, and a diamond-encrusted pistol she carried everywhere. Cars lined her driveways, Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, and custom bulletproof Cadillacs with hidden compartments for cash and weapons. And her spending habits were outrageous. She once threw a $1 million birthday party for her son, flying in performers from around the world. But beneath the glamour was pure terror. Blanco's ruthlessness left even hardened criminals afraid to say her name. 4. El Chapo Guzmán. While Griselda Blanco turned Miami into her playground, Joaquin El Chapo Guzmán was quietly building something far bigger, an empire that spanned continents. Standing just 5'6" tall, El Chapo's nickname meant shorty, but his reach was anything but small. As the ruthless head of the Sinaloa cartel, he controlled the trafficking of cocaine, heroin, marijuana, and meth from South America into the United States, raking in a personal fortune of over $1 billion. El Chapo lived like a billionaire king. He had multiple beach houses, mountain hideouts, and lavish urban mansions, each fitted with bulletproof windows, underground escape tunnels, and state-of-the-art security systems. His garages were filled with armored SUVs, custom sports cars, and even a diamond-encrusted handgun that showed off his absurd wealth. And perhaps most shocking, El Chapo escaped from maximum security prisons twice. The first time, hidden inside a laundry cart. The second, through an elaborate mile-long tunnel complete with lights, rails, and ventilation built just for him. Millions of dollars in bribes to government officials, police, and prison guards kept his empire running. 5. Susumu, Ishi, and Al Capone. While El Chapo's wealth flowed from drugs and fear, Susumu Ishi took a very different path. As the head of Japan's Inagawa Kai Yakuza group during the booming 1980s, Ishi transformed organized crime into something that looked disturbingly legitimate. Instead of relying only on extortion, Ishi poured money into Japan's skyrocketing stock market and real estate industry. He bought up valuable properties in Tokyo's most expensive neighborhoods and even invested heavily in golf courses where memberships alone could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. His mansions blended tradition and excess Japanese gardens, priceless artwork, and entire rooms designed for tea ceremonies. He even owned vacation homes in Hawaii and California, plus several private islands in the Pacific. And then there was Al Capone, the infamous Chicago gangster who ruled during Prohibition. Capone made the modern-day equivalent of $1. $3 billion, running a vast bootlegging network with 10,000 speakeasies and raking in more than $100 million annually. Capone lived extravagantly, a Miami Beach mansion with secret passages, armored Cadillacs, and silk suits worth hundreds of dollars apiece at a time when most Americans made less than $1,000 a year. But here's the thing, even these two criminal giants were small players compared to a Sicilian mastermind who built a $4 billion empire while hiding in plain sight for 3 decades. 6. Mateo Messina Denaro. While Capone became a household name, Mateo Messina Denaro thrived in the shadows. Nicknamed Diabolic after a comic book villain, Denaro rose through the ranks of the Sicilian Mafia, becoming one of the most feared and elusive mob bosses in history. By his 20s, Denaro already had a reputation as a ruthless killer. In 1993, he was linked to deadly bombings in Rome, Florence, and Milan, attacks that killed 10 people and shook Italy to its core. But behind the violence, Denaro built an empire worth an estimated $4 billion. Unlike many mobsters, he invested heavily in legitimate businesses, construction companies, wind farms, supermarkets, and luxury resorts across Sicily. His lifestyle was surprisingly lavish for a man on the run. Denaro owned beachfront villas, luxury apartments in Rome, and a secret compound near his hometown. His closet contained handmade suits from Milan's top tailors and Rolex watches worth hundreds of thousands of euros. For 30 years, Denaro evaded capture. He communicated only through handwritten notes called pizzini, underwent plastic surgery to alter his appearance, and used multiple fake identities. His freedom finally ended in January 2023 when police arrested him at a cancer clinic in Palermo. Even after his capture, authorities believe billions of his fortune remain hidden across Sicily. 7. Darko Šarić. If Mateo Messina Denaro was a ghost, Darko Šarić was a spectacle. The Serbian drug lord built a cocaine pipeline from South America to Europe, so lucrative that his empire ballooned to an estimated $27 billion. Šarić didn't just get rich, he made sure everyone knew it. His property stretched across multiple countries, a seaside mansion in Montenegro with private beaches and helicopter pads, a penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Belgrade, and luxury estates in South America, where deals were sealed with politicians and cartel partners alike. His garages looked like car shows for billionaires' rows of Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and custom Rolls-Royces, including a bulletproof Bentley worth more than $500,000. When he wasn't driving, he flew in private jets or relaxed on his 100-foot yacht docked in the Mediterranean. Šarić loved to flaunt his wealth. His wardrobe overflowed with handmade Italian suits, and his wrists sparkled with diamond-encrusted watches valued at over $1 million each. Parties at his estates became legendary, endless champagne, world-renowned chefs, and famous performers flown in for private concerts. But behind the glamour, Šarić ran his empire like a Fortune 500 CEO, with hundreds of employees, corrupt officials, and dealers operating across 2 continents. His reign ended in 2014 after an international manhunt brought him down. Much of his fortune was seized, but rumors persist that billions remain hidden. 8. Lead into payoff. After all these infamous names, Fat Tony, El Chapo, Capone, Denaro, Šarić, you might think we've reached the peak of criminal wealth. But there was one man who didn't just build an empire, he controlled entire industries, crushed businesses, and raked in more cash than most countries' GDPs, while Elon Musk built rockets to Mars. This mafia boss quietly built an empire worth $47 billion, nearly double Musk's fortune at the time. And yet, his story has remained largely untold until now. 9. Francesco Schiavone. Meet Francesco Schiavone, the brutal leader of the Sicily clan in southern Italy. Through a mix of legitimate businesses and sheer terror, Schiavone's organization came to dominate construction, waste management, and protection rackets across entire regions of Italy. Every new highway, apartment complex, and shopping center. The clan got paid. Waste disposal alone became a gold mine. Companies paid billions to dump toxic waste illegally, while Schiavone's crew pocketed the cash with an estimated $47 billion fortune. Schiavone lived like royalty palaces with marble floors, gold-plated fixtures, priceless stolen artwork, swimming pools, tennis courts, even a private zoo filled with exotic animals. His garages held dozens of Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and vintage luxury cars, all bulletproof and fitted with hidden cash compartments. He even owned luxury hotels, high-end restaurants, and exclusive nightclubs across Italy, perfect for laundering money while expanding his influence. But in '98, law enforcement finally caught up to him. Today, the man who once out-earned Elon Musk spends his life in a prison cell, a dramatic fall for the richest and most dangerous mafia boss in history. Do you think extreme wealth can ever exist without extreme corruption? And which of these mob bosses shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts below and let us know which untold billionaire story you want us to expose next. Because trust me, the next one might be even darker.